Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Julie and today I am talking about the 6 items that I finally tossed from my home and I already feel more inspired. If you're anything like me, you may be constantly rearranging your home to suit your current style and preferences. Of course, every piece of furniture has to have its function. Every single piece of decor has to feel as though it fits your personal style. I make it a habit to purge the home at least once every single month. I mean, I'm not someone who waits for a spring cleaning or a brand new year. I do it all the time and it really helps my space to feel so much more inspired and refreshed. On the flip side, I think about all that time I spent collecting these treasured finds. I mean, whether or not I scoured them at the flea market or the thrift store, I've amassed so much stuff. And half the time it really feels like stuff. I mean, it's junk piled on top of junk because it no longer feels as though it speaks to me. And if it doesn't speak to you, then really it's just weighing you down. So this video is all about inspiring you to be a little bit more selective with the things that you surround yourself with, so it always feels inspiring, uplifted, and makes you happy. If you only have 30 minutes to spare, or if you have a whole day or a whole weekend to do so, think about tackling one of the categories from my list to help you clear out your space. Trust me, the organization process is going to make you feel so much better once you're done. So let's get into it. First from my list is my glass dining table. I have 2 glass dining tables. One was in the formal dining room and another sat in our little breakfast area. I got rid of both of these glass dining tables for a few reasons. Number one, the glass was just a hazard for Kamari. I mean, the minute she banged her head on it or she was throwing something down on the table, I always felt like it was gonna shatter. I always had this looming trepidation behind keeping these glass tables because they're just too fragile and precious in the space. The glass dining table that was sitting in my formal dining room, you've seen in so many videos. I mean, it made its way into my dining room makeover. It was in my table setting video. I love this glass dining table. I found it on Craigslist for so inexpensive. I mean, it was a custom piece. It came with 10 matching chairs. It's a bespoke piece, so it had this really beautiful, intricate gold leaf design. It was on casters and you could disassemble it. So you can make it smaller for smaller parties, or you can extend it with all of the parts for a 12 top dining table, which I used all the time. Except that because it was on casters, it was so easy for Kamari to move around. I mean, if she was playing with her toys and one of the toys accidentally got underneath the dining table, she would literally crawl in between the crevices just to get this piece out. And there are so many little sharp corners, even though it's a wood piece on bottom, a glass on top. I just felt that it was such a potential hazard for her and her growing needs. The other glass dining table was sitting in my breakfast nook. This table had really beautiful sculptural brass legs with just a really simple glass top. This was the table that we used most often to dine on. When we moved her out of the high chair onto the booster seat, sometimes she would set something down on that glass and I was always afraid that it was going to break or shatter. So I finally donated these much beloved pieces that I have treasured for so many years, and now they've found a better home. So now I'm so excited to look for more durable pieces that fits our style and the growing needs of our family. The second piece I got rid of is my old coffee table. I love this Crate and Barrel coffee table. I found it on consignment for $300 when it was originally over $1,000. I love the shape, I love the clean lines, except that now that Kamari's gotten older and I was making more room in the living room for her to play, I literally just pushed it against a bookshelf. It really just sat there as an additional surface top for her to play around and put all of her toys on. It wasn't serving the purpose of being this really beautiful coffee table anymore. It just looked really bulky in the space. It was a dark color and I was going for a lot more warmer, lighter tones. It has sharp corners that I found myself putting little silicone bumpers on so that she wouldn't constantly bump her head. I mean, even though the piece is beautiful, it no longer served our purpose and our needs. Now that I've cleared the living room and we have a brand new sectional in there, I'm now looking for a surface for her that's a little bit more kid-friendly. Maybe something with round edges, no sharp corners, perhaps an oval piece, an oblong piece, definitely lighter in wood, so it has that light, bright, airy feel that I'm going for. The next item on my list is this futon. This futon was sitting in my husband's office, and we kept it for a long time for many reasons. Number one, it served as additional seating in his office. Now, does anybody come into his home office? No. But the great thing about this futon was that it converts into a bed. We don't have an extra guest room in the home, so this served the purpose of having guests sleep over. You could literally pull down the futon and convert it into a bed, and of course, you could sleep like at least 2 people on there. The bad thing about this futon is that it looks like a futon. It wasn't the most comfortable sofa. It wasn't the most comfortable bed because obviously there's that crease in the middle. It never really served its purpose as a comfortable guest bed or a really economical extra seat in my husband's already too cramped office. We held on to it because it was purely functional. It got to the point where he was simply throwing his office items on there as a catch-all, and it was just taking up too much space. And every time I looked at it, it made me feel as though we were living in our first apartment again. We have a growing family now, and I just want our space to feel a little bit more elevated, a little bit more like I'm adulting, So I definitely got rid of that futon, and I replaced it with the mid-century sofa that was sitting in our living room. The next item I got rid of is mass-produced decor and artwork. I used to spend entire weekends running from Home Goods to TJ Maxx to Ross to Marshalls. I was always looking for really beautiful artwork, and for cheap too. You could find a really beautiful canvas, sometimes framed even, for less than $20 that you can decorate an entire wall with. What I found over time is that I simply have no connection to these art pieces. These were pieces, although beautiful and colorful and patterned and all the things that I love, they kind of took up so much real estate on my walls that as I was looking for it, it just didn't hold any value to me anymore. Same with decor. I would go out and look for like a really beautiful vase or a really beautiful sculpture. Maybe it had like the texture I liked or the size I liked, and I would buy an entire collection of it. I realized that as I started to purge more and more, I got rid of those things because they just didn't have any sentimental value. Purchasing one-of-a-kind pieces doesn't mean that you have to break the bank. Some of my most beloved pieces that I still hang on to, I found at the flea market for like $10 or the thrift store for even less than that. I have a really beautiful print. It's a reproduction of a famous Modigliani piece that's sitting in my home office. It actually serves as the backdrop to some of my Zoom meetings, but I love this piece, and I found it for like $6 at Goodwill. So it's really about taking the time to look for art pieces and decor that you decorate your home with that really means something to you. Moving on to the next item on my list, it's extra furniture. You might be wondering, what does extra furniture even mean? I want you to take a look around the room that you're currently sitting in. If it's the living room, you might have like an ottoman or a side table that's pushed up against the wall that is really just there as an extra surface or an extra seat. It could be, like me, a garage full of furniture that one day you will use. I used to spend so much time at thrift stores, consignment stores, flea markets, that anytime I spotted a good deal, I would bring it home in the hopes that one day I will use it. I'll be the first to admit that I am a recovering furniture hoarder. And it wasn't until I had my daughter, and obviously thinking about this one on the way, that I just really need to make room for the things that we use the most, the things that matter the most, and really the things that we are going to use right now. I want you to think about the items that take up unnecessary space or even valuable real estate. Even if they're in storage, I mean, that's still valuable real estate that you could be storing seasonal goods that you use every single year instead of a beloved piece that you found, collected, and maybe didn't even spend that much on in the first place. And lastly from the list, it is my Sisal area rug. I scored this area rug from Target. It was such a great deal, and I really love the texture of Sisal. That was before the dogs got to it and eventually kind of tore it apart. If you don't know what Sisal is, it's a natural material that's made from rope. And the more you walk on it or the more it wears down, some of those rope fibers actually disintegrate and kind of litter the entire space. I didn't realize it when I purchased it because it was in the Target home section, in the indoor section, of course. So I just thought, oh my gosh, I love the color, I love the feel, I love the texture. It had this really beautiful nubby texture to it, and it was just the texture I needed to kind of elevate our living room space. While I loved the look and the size, the feel of it wasn't that comfortable underfoot. I mean, you can't walk on it barefoot without it kind of scratching up the bottom of your feet. And I think just all those fibers over time, it was like the span of 5 years. It never stopped shedding. I'm looking to replace this with something softer underfoot. Jute is a really great substitute for Sisal. It has that same natural woven look, but it's a lot softer underfoot. Wool is also a great option. It's soft and long lasting. I'm actually looking for something in a wool silk blend. So not only is it really soft, it's durable. It has fibers that kind of shine and shimmer throughout different times of the day. I want you to think about all of the area rugs that you currently have in your home. Number 1, is it the right size? Number 2, do you love the texture? Does it have the look and feel that you like? Number 3, is it still shedding? At the beginning, every rug sheds, even if it's a polysynthetic blend. You have to vacuum it regularly in order to get all of those fibers out, but usually in about a couple months time, maybe 2 or 3 months at the most, all of those fibers should have already been disintegrated. You can easily vacuum it up, but if it's shedding any longer than that, it might be time for you to rethink your area rug. One of my all-time favorite quotes from William Morris, who is a poet, a philosopher, he is a celebrated designer of the arts and crafts movement, is have nothing in your house that you do not believe to be useful or beautiful. It basically just means that everything in your home should be functional first or beautiful second. And beautiful, of course, is really subjective. It just needs to be beautiful to you. So take a really good long look at everything that you have in your house and think about all of the things that you can purge or donate now to make room for more inspired pieces. I think about this quote every single time I'm shopping for myself or my clients. The piece always has to be functional first. Are the measurements correct? Does it service your needs? Is it of high quality? After that, it's time to source the most stylish and beautiful piece that fits within that function and, of course, your budget. That's it for today's video. I hope I gave you some really good tips on how to rethink your space. It's all about surrounding yourself with pieces that inspire you daily and help you aspire to live your dream life right now. If you like this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and let me know what is the one most treasured piece you have in your home. Also let me know what you got rid of and you feel so much more inspired, uplifted, and happier as a result. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click that little notification bell to be notified of new videos that we drop every Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fabulous day, and I'll see you next week.